our friendship, I think of your stories, and I am so inspired and in awe of your presence. And so thank you.
The feeling is quite mutual, I assure you.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Marian. So, Fire Within Her, it's about women empowerment. And women, we go through so much in our lives. If men could even handle a quarter of what we go through, right?
Right.
They have no idea.
No.
And so to be in the presence of powerful women, it's powerful in and of itself. I'm a firm believer we do not take the ladder behind us. We carry it with us for others to climb it as well.
Absolutely.
You are one of those women, Marian. Can you share with us your story, your passions? You know, it can be high level. We can get into it, but start off with you, Marian. Who you are, you know, wife, mother, entrepreneur, business, whatever.
Okay.
What makes you Marian?
Okay. Well, I'm happy to say that my story is still being written. Who I am and what I do, those are I've learned two really, really different questions. Who I am is a beloved child of God. Full stop. Just hard stop. What I do, that changes every day. I wear a lot of different hats and play a lot of different roles. I am a wife of 20, almost 28 years. I have 4 beautiful children, ages 15 to 24. And I am a community volunteer, whether that means civic and city roles, or I do a lot with PTA and my kids' schools, and I am the founder of Frisco Fastpacs, which is a nonprofit here in Frisco that feeds food insecure children on free and reduced lunch every single week. And that is a very high level of what I do. But we'll start there, and we'll just deep dive from here.
Absolutely. Okay, so Hungry Children. You created or founded a nonprofit. First of all, for people that are watching, you may not even realize that we have hungry children living here in Frisco, or generally in North Texas. When you think of North Texas, you think it's a pretty affluent communities.
That's how Google describes Frisco, as an affluent suburb of Dallas.
Wow. Okay. I had no idea about that.
The season of Lent. And for Christians, that is the 40 days prior to Easter that we prepare and wait with great expectation the death and resurrection of Jesus. And for Christians, Lent is usually a time of personal reflection. A lot of people give up certain vices. A lot of people adopt what I call holy habits, something that they do and add to their daily routine. In 2013, I was checking all the boxes. I was attending worship and doing Bible study and had a regular prayer life, but I still felt like there was this significant disconnect between myself and God. And I really, really wanted to deepen that relationship. And for me, at that time, the answer was fasting, traditional fasting. I did water only for 40 hours every week during the 6 weeks of Lent. Wow. There was really no rhyme or reason to that. I mean, 40 days is a very holy number. 40 is a very holy number. Yes. So 40 hours, and I discovered very, very, very quickly that I do not like being hungry. I just don't. And as the weeks progressed, I found that it was harder and harder to endure. The closer I got to the end of the 40 hours, the more foggy and even confused and lethargic and irritable and agitated I became. And I began to wonder what people, and especially children, who suffered hunger by no choice or fault of their own, how they were enduring and how they were managing that. And it became a very, very heavy question that I needed an answer to. I discovered that there was a really big problem in our own backyard. There were about 40,000 students in Frisco ISD at that time. We're well over 65,000 now. And 12% of those kids were on free and reduced lunch. And we did not have a weekend backpack meal program. So for many of those students, they were leaving on Friday afternoon after having their breakfast and lunch at school. And many of them started the weekend having no idea when, where, or what their next meal was going to be until they went back to school on Monday morning. And Sadaf, that was just not okay with me. And it wasn't okay with a lot of my friends and neighbors. And Lent and Easter in 2013 had come and gone, and I was still really grappling with how to tackle this problem. And I set up shop in my living room, and people would donate non-perishable foods all summer long to designated porches all over the community. And we brought all that food together in August of 2013 and packed about 35 bags and delivered to one school. And at that time, a movement and a mission was born. And over the last 8 years, we have delivered food to every single campus in Frisco ISD. And pre-COVID, we were delivering 1,200 to 1,200 students each and every week.
Wow.
It's amazing. I'm a big believer in Maya Angelou's quote, "When you know better, you do better."
Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't know that Frisco had the hunger problem that it continues to have. We hide our poverty in Frisco very, very well. And I didn't know that there was no service available for these kids. And it's been the most difficult and the most rewarding experience, that and motherhood. Difficult and rewarding at the same time.
Yeah.
I'm a believer that things can be, I like the word and.
Yeah, and it shapes you into who you are today.
It has shaped me into who I am today.
Frisco Fastpacs has, it is on the forefront of everyone's minds. First of all, when people realize that it exists, right? First, you have to understand that there's children that are hungry here that exist.
Right.
So what you created is an outstanding organization. It's a phenomenal organization. And may God bless you and preserve you for what you've created and everyone else that has latched on to that mission.
And there's a whole big group of people, literally hundreds, that make what we do possible every week.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Marian, so that was kind of, so not kind of, but it was a spiritual awakening for you, even though you were checking off the boxes. I think many of us that are faithful, are spiritual, we know that we have some sort of calling, right? God created all of us to do something. So did you feel like this is it? I did it? What was next?
I'm still answering that question. That's a great question. I don't know that I've closed that chapter completely yet. I'm still very involved. I delivered meals during snowpocalypse, as we so lovingly call it around here, a couple of weeks ago. I still enjoy speaking on Frisco's behalf and representing, on Fastpacs' behalf, and representing the organization as the founder and telling my story to faith communities, and really anyone who will have me. And I am transitioning. I do realize that Fastpacs I've always referred to as my fifth child. I have launched Fastpacs out into the world, and I've turned it over to new leadership. I said at the beginning that I accidentally created this nonprofit. That is really not what I set out to do. I set out to just feed kids. But I have launched Fastpacs into new, extremely capable and extremely passionate hands. I've also launched two of my own children out into the world, and I'm about to launch number 3 here in a few months. And then I have a fourth who will be leaving in about 3 years, and I'm looking ahead to what the next chapter holds for me, what the next season holds. And I don't know yet. I don't want to wake up when number 4, yes, I have so many children, I refer to them by numbers. When number 4 flies the nest, I don't want to wake up that fall and say, now what? So it is something I'm actively working on, trying to figure out what the next chapter looks like.
I think it's good for humans to continually evolve, right?
Oh, yes.
We definitely grow and become better. So, Marian, during your life, there was something that had happened, and it really impacted you. I was hoping you would share with the viewers just kind of that time in your life.
Yeah, so it was in 2015. My oldest was graduating and leaving home. Not everyone is meant for college as the next step, but for my oldest, that was for him, and he was leaving. We were in the throes of building Fastpacs. It took off so much quicker than I could have possibly imagined. Not just the need, but also the people stepping up to the need. So, you know, as many children as I had who were hungry, I had volunteers that wanted to help and step in, and it was overwhelming. And the anxiety of managing, you don't know what you don't know. And what I have learned is, instead of taking an hour to train you to take a role within Fastpacs, I continued to do it myself over and over and over again. And that was the case with every single role within the organization. I was also in deep, deep grief over my oldest leaving. That was extremely difficult for me. So the anxiety of this new organization and the grief and sadness I felt with my oldest leaving led to me being diagnosed with anxiety, general anxiety disorder, and major depressive disorder, and eventually suicidal ideation. And in December of 2015, I was hospitalized the week before Christmas. My husband found me in the bathroom, on the bathroom floor, clutching a bottle of, holding a handful of sleeping pills, crying in the middle of the floor. He scooped me up, and through a series of starts and stops over the next 24 hours, I eventually ended up in a behavioral health hospital and spent the next 5 days starting the journey to getting healthy.
And was it because of your husband that was the breaking point, that he found you, or did you know something was wrong?
I knew something was wrong. Hindsight really is 20/20, and I didn't know until it was literally on top of me. It's exhausting to keep up an act and to pretend that you are okay when you are not okay. It is the most exhausting thing I have or will ever do. And for months, I wore a mask of contentment and happiness, and it was all fake, and it was all pretend. And as that became increasingly harder to do, and I began to crumble under the pressure of keeping that up, I stopped sleeping, I stopped eating, and of course that just spirals the whole thing out of control. Lack of sleep increases your depressive and anxiety tendencies exponentially, and that's where I found myself. And I was desperate for all of that to end. And when you are that sleep deprived and that anxious and depressed, I really thought in those moments that I didn't have another choice, that there was really no other way for that pain to end but then to swallow those pills.
Mm-hmm. Why did you feel like you had to put on an act?
Because I was the face of this darling organization. Mm-hmm. You said it yourself. We are beloved in this community, and I am very grateful for that. But for a long time, I was that face, and that's a lot of pressure. Yeah. That's a lot of pressure. Mm-hmm. And when things went wrong, and of course things went wrong, deliveries were missed, and volunteers didn't show, and things happen. Mm-hmm. And I took it all personally. Okay. I saw them as my failures, and it took a great toll.
Marian, there are so many women that can probably relate to your story. Not necessarily about creating a nonprofit, but about the pressures, mm-hmm. the pressures of life.
Sure.
And having to, and we'll be back right after this break.
What did you do with the money you saved on electricity by switching to Discount Power?
I took all my friends out to dinner.
I paid off all my credit cards.
I took my whole family on a vacation.
I bought all this.
At Discount Power, saving you money on electricity is our business. What you do with it is yours. Great rates, great service. Simple. Visit discountpowertx.com today and save.
Hi, I'm Dr. Sonia Reddy. We're a full-service practice focused on dental implants, cosmetic veneers, sleep apnea, and braces. If you're embarrassed with your smile or have chipped, cracked teeth, call our office for your free consultation. I'll personally take care of you.
For all your real estate, commercial, or residential needs, contact Hassan Sumbro at kw.com or call 972-333-4801. Hassan Sumbro, Realtor with Keller Williams. Grow with Cheese, a digital recreational platform for homemakers. Follow Glow and Grow on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, because we all could use a little reminder of how awesome we are.
Marian Mill Supply deals in casters and wheels since last 52 years. For more information, contact 9232431374, 9232421821, or you can visit our website www.mmscasters.com.
Solar company has an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, OneSolarSolution.com. Which solar company offers in-house financing with the best rate and easy approval? OneSolarSolution.com. And which company has the best looking brand ambassador? No one else. OneSolarSolution.com. Look, I know you want solar, and everybody does, but you might think it's expensive. If we can't match your electric bill with our in-house financing, we'll cut you a check or gift card for $25 just for the try. Go to OneSolarSolution.com today.
And we are back. You are watching Fire Within Her, and I am your host, Sadaf. Today, like I said, it's our pilot program today. We're premiering season 2 of Fire Within Her, and my guest is Marian Schulze. Welcome back, Marian, from the break. So we were talking something which was very, very heavy. Mm-hmm. We were talking about mental health. Mm-hmm. We were talking about the incidents that you went through. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to ask you, there are so many women that really put so much pressure on themselves because society puts pressure, family puts pressure, children put pressure. Mm-hmm. And why is it that as women, we feel the need to smile and say that we are okay and have to go on other people's timelines? You mentioned to me the ball of yarn, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so, can you talk about that? Like, I mean, yes, you put that pressure on yourself, mm-hmm. but was it because of society? Was it because, I mean, God doesn't even put that pressure on.
Oh no, oh no. So here's what I'm going to say about that. I really do think that it's not society. I think it's self-imposed.
Okay.
I do think it was pressure I was putting on myself based on a false narrative I was telling myself about what people expected of me. I don't know if that was true at one time. I do believe we're making small strides as women in being more authentic in the way we show up in our relationships. We have a long way to go. But that's one of the reasons I talk so openly about this, and one of the reasons I share my story is because it's so prevalent and it's not being talked about.
No.
And not talking about it is the #1 barrier to getting help and getting better. My best friend is a licensed professional counselor, and she had no idea.
Wow. She couldn't detect.
No. And she's really, really good at what she does.
Wow.
But I was really, really so much better at hiding it.
Wow. Yes. Mm-hmm. So when she found out,
she was the first person my husband called.
Okay.
She showed up at my door. She walked into my house. She walked into my bedroom. She crawled right into bed with me and held me, and it took hours for her and my husband to convince me to seek help and to go to an inpatient facility. She knows that I would never go to a place that she did not approve of. Mm-hmm. So she spent hours on the phone researching and looking for a place that had room that met her approval. So she was very, very, very instrumental in helping. Not everyone has a friend who is a therapist, but I have great resources to local organizations and places to get help that maybe we can link to your show.
Absolutely.
And we can talk. We can talk about that, but there are some places and some incredible resources that I highly recommend, and resources I've used myself and resources that my family has used. And
I think that's one of the things where people don't understand, or slowly are starting to understand, is that physical health is important, but so is mental health.
Sure, and they're related.
And there's still this stigma or this taboo behind mental health. Back to your story, so how long were you in treatment for?
I'm still in treatment.
Okay.
I was in inpatient for 5 days.
Okay.
And then I was in an intensive outpatient program.
Okay.
3 days a week for 6 weeks.
Okay. And you took yourself to the outpatient?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Like you were okay with getting the treatment at that point? And
yes.
Okay.
It was intensive. It was all day for 3 days a week. And it was a very regimented curriculum that I found great comfort in. It was very, very beneficial for me.
Okay.
And it's usually a requirement as part of the step down process out of an inpatient facility. And I still am in therapy, biweekly therapy.
Okay. And that's based on doctor's recommendation or, okay.
And I take medication.
Okay.
Which is something else we don't talk a lot about.
No, we don't.
But you mentioned the ball earlier, the ball of yarn, and we were having a conversation backstage about grief and what grief looks like and feels like. And grief is something that we also don't talk a lot about. We think about grief as a loss of a person, but grief is just loss, period.
Yeah.
Grief is loss of a dream, of a job, of a relationship, of a person, a hope. It's just loss.
Yeah.
And it's not linear. It looks like a ball of yarn, all jumbled and tangled, and it's a process. Not everyone's grief process looks the same.
Yep.
And I'm also a really big believer that the pain associated with grief cannot be numbed. It cannot be avoided, and it cannot be wasted. That is why I share this story, because I do not want to waste that pain. I do not want to waste that pain. And I tried for all of those many months leading up to my hospitalization to numb. And numbing looks really different. Numbing can look like this on your phone with social media as you scroll. Numbing can look like shopping. Numbing can look like alcohol abuse or abuse of food or a myriad of other things. But you can't numb that pain away. And we don't talk about that enough either. We want so bad in this society to minimize suffering and to control suffering. And if you could ask me, well, what is something that eases the pain? And I'm going to tell you, let it burn to the ground. Just let it burn through you. There's just no way around it. You just have to walk through the fire, and it's hard. It's so hard. But I'm going to post this. I've got something on my social media that's going up soon that's just a graphic that says, stop scrolling and deal with your emotions.
Yeah. And it's true. And, to get to that point, to say, I don't feel good. Please, help me. And to have that support system is really important.
Yes.
Marian, can you share with our viewers, and we'll link it as well, but you said that there are resources that are out there.
Yes.
And the reason why I say that is because I still remember about 5 years ago being in company of it, and it was a ladies' lunch, and it was about 20 women, and one woman got up there and she shared her story, and it was about anxiety. Marian, probably about 18 out of those 20, including myself, had stories.
Of course. Oh, of course.
And so this is more common than we think.
It's more common to have it. Yes.
Exactly. And to, for women that are out there suppressing it, don't. And so we'll definitely link up those resources at the end of the show. So having lived through that, still going through therapy for that, and being okay with all of it, right? And talking about it and normalizing it.
Right.
And I feel like as a society, we are headed in that direction. And this year with the pandemic, it has definitely highlighted a lot of mental health concerns
for a
lot of people.
Yes.
And so we think of, I can say this to you as a person of faith, but we do think of, as cliche as it sounds, but the silver lining in every trial and tribulation that happens, right? And so that's one of the things that I have heard is how there are so many more mental health resources that have come out of this year.
Oh, right.
Than there were before.
Right.
So women empowerment, right? And so obviously throughout your life's journey, you must have had women that have empowered you. And it doesn't have to be just women that have empowered you. You can talk, I can say my father is the one who empowered me more so than, probably a lot of people in my life. Who are those people in your life that have empowered you and made you who you are today?
Well, I have the most awesome friend group, and cheerleading your friends, and it is just, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like being an encourager for the people in your life, the women in your life that you love. And I have been on the receiving end of that, and I have given that. So I'll start with a great group of friends. I have one sibling, and she's my baby sister, who's 4 inches taller than me, but I don't say little sister. She's my younger sister. She has a story of her own that is being beautifully written, and she inspires me. She's going to see this, and there will be tears. She inspires me in ways that I don't tell her enough. But watching the way she parents and the way she mothers, and the person that she is in her own community it gives me hope and strength and so much courage. I have an amazing spouse. To go through everything that we have gone through, and you are right that it does not take founding a nonprofit to lead me to a behavioral health hospital. Those two things, what I am learning about myself is that there were so many warning signs and so many things that were happening in my life before Fastpacs was even, before Lent of 2013 even began. And my husband and I, we've grown up together. We were high school sweethearts. It's so cliche. I don't remember not knowing him. So we quite literally grew up together. And he is the most supportive and encouraging partner. And we are partners in all things. And so he empowers me and has more confidence and faith in me than I do.
That's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And yes, you have to have a strong spouse.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes. You do. You know exactly.
I know exactly what you mean.
What that means.
Yes.
And how critical it is.
It is. Absolutely.
Yes.
Marianne, your story all around is phenomenal, and I'm so excited that it's still being written.
Me too.
And I'm glad to be in your presence, to know you, and I hope you all enjoyed Marianne's story as well. Just remember that there are resources out there if you are going through some sort of crisis in your life. And the other thing that you mentioned was Frisco Fastpacs. Know that there are resources out there for children that are hungry. So Marianne, with your wealth of knowledge and your empowerment, what is one word of advice that you can give to our viewers?
Show up. Show up for yourself first. And show up for everyone else second, but just show up. The person you should be most worried about disappointing is yourself. And if you are showing up for yourself first, you'll have plenty left over to give to the people in your life who matter.
Thank you, Marianne. And that's
Thank
important.
you.
We often forget about ourselves.
Yes, yes we do.
Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. It was just an honor to be here, and to be here first was just
yes, of course,
amazing.
Of course.
And I'm so excited for you, friend.
Thank
This
you.
is
Thank you.
Phenomenal.
Thank you so much. That was Fire Within Her, Season 2, Episode 1, our pilot show. Thank you so much for joining. Until next time.